As President Donald Trump falls farther behind Joe Biden in national polls, the conventional wisdom among coastal elites is that Trump will pay a price in November for his defiance of the cultural change sweeping America. Though it is still 141 days from the November 3rd election, the polls of the moment look grim for Trump. He continues to struggle with female voters, many of whom are exhausted by his divisive tone and punitive tweets. Biden is posting double-digit leads in national polls while campaigning, mostly from his basement in the midst of the pandemic. View Trump and Biden head-to-head polling and Trump's self-inflicted errors in the weeks since George Floyd's death, from the administration's clearing of Lafayette Square for Trump's bible-wielding photo op to the president's tone-deaf assertion that he can fix systematic racism in America quickly and easily, made even some Republicans wince. But Trump proved in 2016 that he is smarter than most people think about electoral strategy. In interviews with both Republican and Democratic strategists this past week, there was near unanimity that no one can predict how an issue like racial injustice will play out in November, especially when American lives and livelihoods are on the line during a pandemic and a frightening economic collapse. Strategists from both parties also noted that Democrats are playing a dangerous game if they believe Trump's inflammatory tweets and threats will cost him the election, a miscalculation some Democrats made in 2016. While the president has been widely criticized for vilifying protesters, calling on governors to dominate demonstrators in the streets and for hammering his law and order message, Democrats may be equally at risk of overplaying their hand as pressure mounts from activists on the left to slash police budgets or defund the police, as Minneapolis moves to disband its police department, and as protesters occupy the area around Seattle's East Precinct. Here's the good news for Trump: Republicans are going to be far more tolerant of police reforms than Democrats will be in terms of embracing the cops, the idea that they're not the enemy, said Republican Senator Lindsey of South Carolina, who chairs the Senate Judiciary Committee. Joe Biden's problem is, how do you embrace law and order with a very militant base? Graham said. Noting the controversy over disbanding police departments around the country as a counterpoint to Trump's polling deficit among female voters, he added, "I think most people, but particularly women with kids in charge of a family, want to pick up the phone and have a cop on the other end and not a social worker." Trump tried to channel a similar public safety message in the lead up to the 2018 midterms when he stoked fears about migrant caravans that he claimed were coming across the border and endangering Americans, while promising a law and order response.